Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another One Piece manga review. This week we're reviewing chapter 1021, Domino, or I guess this is gonna be Devil. This may be Nico Robin Devil. We're reviewing the unofficial right now because the official's dropping on Monday. So you're getting the review the same day you get the official. But my name is Lynn Burton, and I'm joined by my guy, Mr. Christian Hollinger. Christian, how you doing this week, brother?
I'm doing very good. A lot of our theories about how this fight would play out seem to have came true. So
Mm-hmm.
I liked how this played out, and I'm very pleased. I didn't see a break at the end of this chapter, so I don't think we're going to be going through a drought.
Yeah, I don't see break. Yeah, so that means we're getting
Okay.
another one. Cool. Yeah, this was a solid chapter, and
Mhm.
I went on to tell you before we started that this may be the best Straw Hat battle in the sense that the Straw Hat did the most development with this. We got a flashback, we saw a power up, we saw a transformation, we got a real fight with this. Whereas with Jinbei and Who's Who, we got a real fight, but it was more so Who's Who showing he's badass, and Jinbei's like, get out of my way. And with
Right.
Frankie and Sasaki, that was Frankie had a better fight with Senor Pink, in my opinion. But for
Mm.
Robin, this was her Senor Pink. This was her Kaku. This was her Jabra. This was her big fight of the series. So since this is our first real fight of the series, Oda did her justice. I got to be honest.
Yeah. I have a lot to speak on that, so I'm very excited about that. But Oda delivered on a lot of things that we've been waiting to see from Robin. And it also adds, in my opinion, to her mystique because we've been seeing whenever characters have flashbacks, it seems like, just the way that the story has to be told, Oda's not going to reveal these things immediately. So to learn that Sabo and the others that we're going to talk about later taught Robin some haki techniques, it seems, means that, and we also saw that, Robin did point out that she did use it earlier in the series, even though we didn't know so. Robin has not been shown to really use haki at all, or to do any of these other things at all. So for Oda to deliver on these things, I think was just
Yeah.
excellently portrayed. Yeah.
I agree. So let's just jump into the review the way we do this brief summary, and then we dive into each part of the chapter and just discuss it. So this chapter starts off with the battle. We go through the battle, seeing different moves from Robin, seeing her giant clone fight, and Black Maria pulls out her brass knuckles and starts whooping ass. And then we get a Robin flashback. We find out some stuff in there, which we will discuss. And then Robin comes out, starts using her fishman karate techniques, busting ass. And then all of a sudden, she pops out her, which we assume is her haki mode, her haki transformation, and does this move called Grand Jacuzzi Clutch. Takes out Black Maria. We then see Brooke make light work of those little minions. Real quick, Brooke was like, I got this, dog, don't worry. And then at the end of the chapter, as you predicted, Caribou had meat. I gotta give it to you. You said that last week. Caribou had the meat, but a theory that me and you have talked about multiple times. Momo asked Shinobu to make him an adult, and that is how the chapter ends. There's so much to discuss at the end, but let's give Robin her just due.
All right. Well, also, we were mentioning Senior Pig,
Yeah, he was in the
that cover
cover.
story with Frankie. So we can assume, based on the context, they're probably talking more about Senior Pig's backstory. And it's great. The bartender's crying, Frankie's crying, very passionate. So I did appreciate
I did too.
that callback. But man, let's get into this Robin stuff, man. I thought that this banter between women was great as well. Black Maria starts off saying, what a temper tantrum. So she's kind of belittling, but this is kind of the way that women attack each other. They're very petty. In my observations, I don't know this for certain, but it
They gonna
seems like when they
kill
go
you
at each
for
other,
that.
you know, they take some jabs at each other. So
They do take low shots. I will say that.
yeah. And Robin is, really cool. Don't worry about me. I plan on settling this quickly. So, Robin's staying very calm and collected. And again, we get that sense of Black Maria is perpetually pushing this button on this calm character, and eventually she's going to snap. So Robin starts off with Sea Serpent, and I have to say, I loved the creativity of this for a lot of reasons. One, Sea Serpent, homage to Fishman Karate coming up later. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
have another reference to an ocean like figure. Devil Fruit users can't swim. So it's ironic. Then you've got the allusions to Luffy. Robin has obviously been watching Luffy. So my head canon says, you know, Luffy and some of the other people might train, or, you know, some of the other Straw Hats will see some of these moves. So it's very possible that over the time that Robin's been traveling with Luffy, she's picked up on Luffy's snake-like movements with his arms. So the
Mm-hmm.
way that Oda draws this, you know, it seems like Robin is using the same kind of concept of, okay, how do I maneuver giant limbs around? So I could almost imagine, you know, her maybe even asking Luffy, like, Luffy, you know, how would you use a sea serpent, you know, move in like your gear third? And she watches that, and we see it here. Excellent move. She grabs all of Black Maria's limbs. Apparently, her grip is pretty tight, and she actually surprises Black Maria. I was not expecting her to be able to grapple Black Maria so effectively.
But then Black Maria just cuts her, and then that's what I like is when she cuts her, and you find out that because we didn't know this, like we always thought that Robin's arms were like okay, if we didn't know if you hurt those arms, it hurts Robin. We never knew that, and by Oda showing this when Black Maria cuts her, it's like oh okay, so Robin's Devil Fruit isn't OP. There's some drawbacks.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
there's no
I don't,
defense.
I don't, I don't think that Robin's really gone up against any other user who can use hockey. So we've never really seen this before. So, for instance, I referenced not Nami. Robin made a clone when she was checking out Orochi's hideout before the ninjas caught her. And in the anime, they specifically show that one of the ninjas threw a kunai that literally cut through Robin's clone's head, and it just triggered into that flower animation where the clone dispersed. And we see that there was no damage to Robin. So most likely what happened was that ninja didn't necessarily know that he was dealing with a devil fruit user
No
and
hockey.
just threw a kunai and thought, okay, a kunai would kill a defenseless spy like woman. And then he realizes, oh, she's using this mystical art that everyone else knows is a devil fruit. So in this case, Black Maria is competent. She used hockey. And so, similar to someone like Smoker, this is the first time she was able to hit Robin's real body.
Mm-hmm.
But based on her reaction where she says, okay, so your real body gets injured too, suggests that perhaps she did not think that it would react like Smoker's body or someone else's body. So I was also caught off guard too a little bit because I suspected maybe this is just hockey at play that makes that a weakness, but maybe it's not. You know, maybe Robin does legitimately spawn
But that's a
extra
good point, though,
limbs.
which you said about the ninja that under Fukurokuju about how they did
Yeah,
throw that at her head. And then I would like to assume because Black Maria's weapon is not what she had at first, and she's competent. I assume that she was using hockey. That's a great point by
right,
you.
right. So we see that, and that's also an illusion, not an illusion, but a reference for Robin to say, okay, this is a battle of hockey. You know, usually the opponents who have hockey are being dealt with by Luffy, Zoro, or Sanji, because this goes back. This is also interesting. Luffy says back in Fishman Island, the Straw Hats who have hockey are myself, Luffy, and Zoro and Sanji. He doesn't mention Robin. So I think that this may even be a little bit more nuanced when we get to it. Maybe Robin just now perfected the techniques that she
Mm-hmm.
learns. So maybe she wasn't really capable. And I'm gonna get to that when she gets the flashback. But
Black Maria
Black
starts
Maria is
shooting them webs out.
still competent, and we find that her limbs are coated in some type of acid, I believe.
Some
So that
poison.
some poison. So that's also effective. Makes sense. When I first saw Robin capture Black Maria, I'm like, okay, is grabbing a spider really smart?
Smart, yeah,
So I
facts.
figured something along these lines is going to happen. Like, it's one thing to smash a spider, but would you really want to grab onto a spider? I don't think so.
No, not at all. And see, Black Maria says that, and then starts putting her in some webs, traps the giant. And then Robin's starting to realize, because she's getting battle experience, like, oh, maybe my giant form isn't the right form I should be using. But Black Maria says, I ain't got time for this. I'm not about to hold back. Puts on the brass knuckles and starts beating Robin's ass. I was like, whoa, Robin's getting this is the first time we saw a straw hat woman really get some paws put on her.
Yeah. And actually, now that I'm looking at something, I'm beginning to formulate a different hypothesis about Robin's devil fruit. So you notice that whenever she captures Robin and prevents her from moving, she also captures the giant's arms that are specifically folded like Robin's. So if she captures all of Robin's extra appendages, would that stop Robin's movement? Or did she have to capture the
I think she
arms?
might have to capture the giant.
Right. So I think that perhaps the giant is like, okay, so Robin herself is obviously her real body. The giant, I think, is like the closest thing to her real body. And then the extra appendages are still her real body, but they're a little bit more extraneous. So when we see that they're literally cut, like it seems like deep cuts, I don't believe that she's sustaining deep cuts to her arm. So it's probably more like just flesh wounds.
Yeah, it
On
seems
the
like she's
extra
getting
ones.
the whatever the giant is taking. It seems like that's the damage she's getting.
Yeah.
Because when you look at when Black Maria's like, taste my knuckles, all the
Right.
punches to the face, that's where the damage is coming from. Like her
Right.
hands don't even look cut when you look at in that panel.
Exactly. So I think that the giant is more like, again, to make another anime reference, Komamura's Bankai. By hurting that giant, you can then hurt the caster effectively. And so that was also more competency from Black Maria. And it's also brutal. Again, I don't think Oda feels very comfortable showing outright violence like this on women unless it's another woman. Because I don't believe I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe I've seen Nami or any other woman get hit like this.
Not that, I mean, even Big Mom hadn't got punched like this. And see, I don't know, because I mean, Zoro did kill that Frost lady. He cut her in half, so you know.
He didn't kill Monet.
He didn't kill Monet, so Monet's alive.
No, Monet died, but Doflamingo killed her via sacrifice. So you know that was the moment I told you was one of the first, not first, but was one of the signs of Conqueror's haki. He froze her in place with that glare, but then he used haki right before, and then turned it off when he cut her. So he was playing mind games. Monet thought she was dead and was so scared she couldn't put herself back together, and also was emotionally scared because she thought if she did put herself back together, then Zoro would kill her.
Okay, well, yeah, then I don't think anyone has received violence like this before. At least I don't think so.
I mean, you want to talk about brass knuckles? Yes, you brought up Zoro. So the woman from Baroque Works who used brass knuckles hit Zoro like this, but then Zoro grabbed her face and probably like fractured her skull. That's the closest that we've seen to like some really brutal violence on women. But we found out that she's fine. She married Mr. Three on a cover story somewhere. So violence wise, I was actually caught off guard that we saw Robin of all women taking a punch like this. It looked very brutal, and I thought that those kind of punches were reserved for Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Frankie, etc. But Robin was taking them.
Robin stood tall, man. Robin says, "I'm on the Pirate King's crew too, man."
That was, my goodness. I did appreciate Black Maria saying, I'm a martial artist at heart. So it shows again why she's a part of Kaido's crew. She doesn't just happen to be an Oran who is interesting to Kaido. She does have that sadistic, brutal side to her.
And she probably had her own crew because all the Toby Robo had their crew, and like they were captains. Exactly.
The people who Sanji knocked out and who Brook are fighting are probably
her minions, yeah.
Her minions.
And her crew, but yeah, 100%. And then we see after she's beating on Robin, Robin tries to get away. Black Maria's like, nah, you're not getting away. Sends them webs out. Robin tries to catch him with her hands, but then the webs are flammable.
Right.
And then then Black Maria sets the whole room ablaze.
Yep. And this is where again, I'm thinking like this is really, really interesting from a graphic standpoint and from a fighting standpoint because to your point earlier with Robin's fight being the most interesting and greatest straw hat fight that we've seen outside of Roof Piece, it's like who else had their backs up against a wall like this? Like at
Yeah.
one point, I don't remember Jinbei or Frankie taking just an outright beating the way that Robin did. I don't remember them getting captured at any given
Usopp
point.
did.
Okay, yeah, Usopp did. He got a massive beating.
His
Nami
nose
got
was fractured.
okay.
His
Well,
skull
I
got
mean,
cracked.
that's true.
But they
Okay,
got saved.
okay.
Like that's a different type of situation. This is like, to your point, Robin's back's against the wall and has to make something happen.
Right. I mean, it has to make something happen, and it's more of an even battle where Ulti was obviously leagues above Usopp's skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Usopp was like in a sniper position or had some type of leverage like a sniper would typically have, and not facing Ulti in a close range battle where he's at a disadvantage, you can make an argument for maybe Usopp could do something. But he was completely at a disadvantage. There was no way he was supposed to make it out of that
Yeah.
situation. But looking at visuals where Robin just took a beating and now she's in a room where the entire room is on fire, it's like that really shows you, okay, yeah, my back's up against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is a situation where my haki needs to bloom, which I believe is something that happened. And another parallel I'm just bringing up. Do you remember what Robin was facing when she met Brooke in Thriller Bark?
Wasn't it like it was some sort something with fire?
Well, yeah, there was fire involved, but it was a giant spider.
Oh yeah, it was that. You're right. You were
So Oda is
right.
just constantly in his bag for little nuggets that you can,
And pairing him
kind
together
of
with Brooke.
right. And we
Mm.
already know Thriller Bark has parallels. You
True.
have Kuma and Moria, who are the big bad. So you have the two Yonkos. You've got Zoro getting a new sword and taking on a lot of pain. You've got Luffy being knocked out at some point. So there's a lot of parallels going on here. Oda continues that in this sense. But I thought that this was absolutely beautiful. But at this point, I'm still a little bit confused because it's like, okay, we've gotten a couple of chapters. Brooke is saying, like, yo, you're in for it now. Like, you're really pissing Robin off. So when I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, Robin, you was really talking that shit, and then you start getting your ass whooped. Like, what's going on? Like, when are you gonna turn this around?
She needed that flashback, man.
And
She
I was
needed
like, as soon as I started seeing the flashback, I was like, I heard the One Piece music. I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
and like Brooke was like, "You keep saying dumb things, Black Maria. I would be
Yep,
quiet if I was you." And because she
yep,
kept talking about Sanji, she was like, "Why don't you ask your ice friend to put the fire out?" And she was like, "Aren't you gonna try to get more limbs?" And she was like, "Nah, nah, nah, I'm not." Robin's like, "I let my guard down. We ain't about to let this happen." Flashback,
right.
baby. Black Maria starts punching her more, and then all of a sudden we see Koala and Sabo and Hack. Robin's
And
learning
that
fishing karate, baby. That
this is
hard.
beautiful because again, that puts more um emphasis and context on that moment where we see how Robin interacts with Fishman. She never really had that whole Arlong situation, so she never, I believe, had any kind of bias to Fishman, to my knowledge. She does know plenty of things that Jinbei has done, but to know that Robin knows Fishman karate is nice because that's a tether for two of the old heads in the Straw Hats, being Jinbei and Robin. But two, it makes sense again. It wouldn't really make sense for Robin to come out with this random karate style, but we know that Hack is a teacher. We know that Sabo's a teacher, and I believe Koala is also a teacher within the Revolutionary Army. We
Yeah, the
know that Koala at one point was considered defenseless and weak. So that's what Robin's effectively being called. And through Fishman Karate, both of them have shown the world that they're actually very strong.
Yep.
Um, so
And
those
and
parallels were
then
beautiful.
the fact is he's been foreshadowing this since Giganto Mano. And it was just like,
Right,
yo, Oda.
right. I
Bravo,
was
bravo.
actually, I was really about to get scared because I thought Robin was about to get some ridiculous power. Like I thought they were referring to like Rio, because you remember when the admirals put their hands up as a palm to block the
Oh yeah,
quake
yeah,
from.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, wait. They just gave Luffy Rio.
yeah.
There's no way they're gonna passively give Robin Rio and then just not even really reference it all post time skip. So I was a little bit concerned. And then Sabo comes in talking about I'm gonna teach you Dragon Claw. And I'm like, wait. If Robin grips Black Maria with Dragon Claw, I'm gonna lose my shit, okay? Because then think like, oh my, if she learns it, she can do like 50, 100 Dragon Claws at the same time with
hmm
giant hands.
Well, she has her own version of Dragon Claw, which we will see in a little bit, but she does
So
a good
yeah,
job of hitting that roof, making everything come down, taking out the fires. Good to see Sabo. Makes you think, Reverie, what's gonna happen? Makes
right.
it, and also we get an appearance of short-haired Robin again. Hadn't seen her in a while. Good to see her
And that
again.
smile is absolutely beautiful and adorable, where she's like, haha, if that's how you feel, then why not? Go ahead and show me this palm thing. And she puts up her palm. I'm just like, Jesus, man. Like, just so adorable, man. And then
Killing
in the
it.
same panel line, just heartbreaking, because then we just see her just getting
Just
smacked.
bloodied up like I'm about to
Oh
just
my.
do it.
I'm like, okay. Oda said, I'm drawing a war. Okay, I'm drawing a war. People gonna get hurt.
hmm
Look, I've been protecting Robin and Nami for a while. Y'all haven't really. He was like, nah, Robin's a big girl.
Yeah, Nami, you not getting it yet. You gonna get it in the final war. Robin,
Yeah,
you gotta be ready before the final war. And straight
yeah,
up puts the fire out, and then boom hits this Dominio. I'm sure that's gonna be Demon Floor, Demon
yeah,
Flower in the translation. Turns
yeah,
into a devil, which me and Christian both assume is a new form where she utilizes haki with her devil fruit, similar to how Luffy does a Gear 4, how Virgo coats himself fully in
yeah.
hockey, and then straight up grabs Black Maria and goes back to the classic move. And this is why I say this is her version of Dragon Claw. She does her grand jacuzzi clutch. Because Dragon Claw is a squeezing thing, but she's like, I got my own, I got clutch. But I'll clutch
Actually, now that you say that, that actually makes a lot more sense, because there's no reason for Oda to focus so much on Sabo talking about finding the core and using Dragon Claw if that has nothing to do, if she just learned the Fishman Karate Palm Strike, then why would you even incorporate Dragon Claw? So
Yep, it's for
yeah,
her
this
clutch.
Jacuzzi clutch, she probably found all of her core joints or something, or core whatever you want to, think of. And then she
Her weak point.
specifically broke that.
Yep.
So that, when I saw that, I visibly actually winced. And I always do when I see Robin use her attacks, because I can't even imagine what it feels like if she's like cracking spines. Like it kind of looks like I know her leg is around her neck, but she basically like
Cracks her
Bane the
neck.
Batman here.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
she
much.
basically did what Bane did. It just like broke Black Maria over
While
her
her
knee
other
almost,
arms are like
breaking
breaking.
her other limbs. It's like this is brutal, and it's wonderful. Like I said, the last time we saw Robin be brutal, it was brutal.
But
This is
I gotta give you
brutal.
props again, the Robin hockey bloom, if that's what this is.
I hope it is, and I love it. I also love the aesthetic of, we've seen Robin make wings before. They look angelic. Here, she made them black and she made them the demon wings.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that. Mika Robin, she's not a D, right?
Nuh-uh.
I mean, her
They
middle name's never been disclosed, but
nuh-uh.
it's a
Not that I
little late
know.
to be. Yeah, it's a little late for Robin to be. All right. So, anyways, it's still nice to see more devil motifs. You have Diable Jambe, which is a reference to the devil. You have Zoro being, a devil. You have Luffy being a D clan, which is referred to sometimes as like
The
uh,
the 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 enemies of
so,
God, like
right,
devil, that
right.
type. stuff.
So
And but I just like
I like
Robin
that
taking on this
continued motif.
motif because she's been
Yeah,
called this since she was a kid.
yeah, absolutely. So this manifestation of it is also beautiful. Also, you know how I am. I'm not doing this to be biased to my Zora love, but I also feel like this is also a manifestation, like Asura is. Not saying it's spiritual, but the fact that she actually took time to manifest horns on her head, like until we see her use that to like ram someone where we know it's functional,
Mhm.
she's doing this purely for aesthetic, in my
Yep.
opinion, which I think is a flex. But I also think it's also a manifestation of how she's feeling because she's literally she says the lines like a devil. If a devil, I'll be a devil if that's what it takes.
Yep.
So this form could perhaps we could see it later, and it might be like an angelic form, where maybe she
What she
needs to
came
save
to.
someone or catch a bunch of people. And so, like with the thousand Buddha arms, she makes an angelic version of this. Like she makes the halo out of like her arms connecting or
Hmm.
something like that. You know what I mean? So just because she used a double form this time, I'm like, Oda really didn't trap himself in anything because Robin's still super creative because she can manifest
And
whatever
we've
she
seen the
wants.
angel wings already. So like, yeah, no, to that point, he's
She
not
could literally
pigeonholed.
have an angel form of this, and
Hmm.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
But
This is just her hockey, like when I'm whooping ass. Like
she
that.
also has fangs though, so that's also what caught me off guard. Like,
Yeah,
did she
true.
spawn teeth? Like, did she just like spawn bigger? Like, what is this?
I don't
Like,
know.
she literally has fangs. I'm like,
Yeah, she does
yo,
have fangs.
this is dope. But yeah. So then, this leads into Brooke making that giant music note. So Brooke's been getting a lot of passive progression too, which I think is
On the low.
appropriate. It's on the low, but he's on the low kind of a character.
Yeah, he is.
Steady, but he's also works great in the background the way that he does. So to see that he is getting stronger with his ice abilities, his soul abilities are becoming more and more broken. Because we saw, I mean, he immediately froze the dog just because
Yeah.
it's like if it's a living being, then it's susceptible to my
It's so
powers.
like
And
gotcha.
it's like before, was he that crafty with it? Like I don't feel like he was always that crafty with his soul
No,
abilities.
I think he was just like, yo, I gotta get stronger for my team. And like he just
Right.
tapped into another gear. But
Like I
I
never
love the music note thing though.
Yeah, no, I love the reference to that because I don't know if that's like a reference, like a trace of like his sword swipe. Because again, we never see
Yeah.
his sword swipe. So for all we know, he's so quick he had time to draw, the musical staff note with his sword. So that
Hmm.
could be a sword strike. That could be, a visual of how loud the music it is that he just used with his
Or
sword
visual
strike.
representation of his ice path because it's
Or
looking.
yeah, because of all the white smoke and stuff.
Hmm.
So I don't know until the anime gets there, but it could be a combination of all of this.
Yeah,
This
true.
attack could have a sound thing similar to Apu, where it actually creates sound waves while freezing. While he's so quick that the cut is literally in the shape of
Of a music
that, and it
note.
hits all three. Brooke is literally super duper impressive
Yeah,
as a
badass
swordsman.
for sure.
Like
Makes sense why Zoro fought him with Rio, fought him in Ryuma's body.
yeah, and I mean, hey,
Your man's, you look, your
Brooke,
man's
Brooke,
Brooke.
Brooke is impressive, man.
Zoro better be ready. Brooke might be coming for the strongest swordsman in the world, man.
Uh huh. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, uh, as we were saying off air, I also love the consequences. I love that Robin was not capable of just walking this off immediately because that makes it more grounded. Makes me feel as though, as she said earlier, because we did kind of gloss over this, Robin does mention that she had used this technique before. And I believe this is a reference to when they were going to Fishman Island and she knocked the ship away from a
Oh
giant.
yeah, with Giganto's Mono. Yeah, we said. I
Right.
thought we talked about that.
Well, we referenced Gigante Mano, but I didn't know if we specifically talked about how Oda showed us
Oh
that
yeah,
even though
true.
we didn't know, Robin has actually used or practiced this technique before. So this is not some ass pull. It's not like she pulled this stuff, out of nowhere. It came from somewhere. She practiced it. She just hasn't been on screen taking on strong opponents where she's had to flesh it
Usually.
out. So I believe everything that I got, it feels natural. And then, like I said, Oda gave it a consequence. So Robin's not able to just get back up and use this form willy nilly. Eventually, she will be able to,
But not right now.
and not right now. And again, end of series, she might be able to make both the demonic form separate of herself and the
And they
angelic form
yeah.
separate of herself. And so, like, imagine something like that where there's two giants on the field. One is causing destruction, the other one is saving allies. And it's like, and then Robin can still move independently of both of them.
That's hard.
Like, this is literally feeling like a broken Pirate King group.
True.
Like, for real,
We're
for
finally
real.
getting there. We're making
Like, I,
headways.
I see it. I see the Blackbeard parallels. Like, Robin can actually go up against Blackbeard's crew once this gets fleshed out. Once she's not drained from doing this, yes, we're seeing that end of series stuff. But to go into Caribou, I figured. I mean, this was the most logical scenario. You
Let
know,
him bring the meat.
we knew every time Caribou has been shown on screen, for the most part, he's been used as a mobile carriage system. So I knew he was going to be carrying something. Luffy screamed meat. Makes sense that Caribou would have meat. I believe he's had meat and other food reserves before. I might
Hmm.
be wrong, but it just made sense. If you're going to show him, he's carrying something that Luffy or someone needs, and I doubt it's going to be like a weapon or anything. So the fact that he had a whole feast ready makes sense. It also works for Luffy being the main character because he literally demanded meat and
Yep.
the heavens basically provided, which is a reoccurring motif way back to what island was Luffy supposed to be executed, but the lightning bolt
Oh,
that was
log town.
Log Town. So when Smoker said, it's as if the heavens itself responds to Luffy, we've seen this countless times in One Piece. You can
Hmm.
call it plot, armor, whatever, but it's
His luck.
actually an ability within One Piece where those who are blessed by fate or whatever can literally sway the plot. So this dude said meat really loud,
He
and
got
what
it.
do you know? A mobile refrigerator showed up with meat. So I thoroughly
Also, to
enjoyed
that point,
that.
a parallel of how Luffy's the sun and Zoro may be the moon because Luffy
Yeah.
gets exactly what he wants, but Zoro has to go through the pain and the conqueror, the Ashura, the form of taking the shot and getting all the pain, while
Yeah.
Luffy's the sun god getting all of this. What
Yeah, he
his luck
basically
or
got
whatever.
off scot free in that situation. But yeah, no, I can definitely see that parallel. So I definitely did not feel like Caribou was going to be a villain or even cast it in a villainous light here. He can
Maybe
still,
crew man. He might be their dastardly guy on the crew.
I see that. The only thing I can see him doing that would be contrary to the Straw Hat's motives is he does know that Shirahoshi is Poseidon. So if he gets captured and tortured, he's liable to say anything for his own freedom. So I do believe in that theory that at some point Caribou is going to spill the beans about Shirahoshi to the wrong person.
Yeah, I
But
feel that.
I don't believe he would do that intentionally, knowing that this is going to hurt Luffy. I'm not saying he's his friend, but I just don't see Caribou
Unless
as
it benefits him, is he's not doing it.
right. And that's the only thing
Exactly.
I can see that would even be of harm to the Straw Hats at this point, spilling the beans on Shirahoshi. But other
But
than
the
that,
important thing is young Momo
yeah,
begging Shinobu to turn to an adult. Will it happen?
I believe it's tough. It's tough because One Piece is a wacky kind of anime where these kind of things could happen, where there could be a legend of the 20-year-old man who acts like a 5-year-old child, right? Which could then turn into, like, Wano's
More
new
representation of how he's like his dad,
right.
carefree.
Right. So there's ways to make that happen, but it still feels a little bit weird if it doesn't get rectified at some point. And what I mean by
See, they
that
said it
is
couldn't. Like they said, you'll never be able to return to normal. Like
you'll never be able to return. Now, of course, we know that that's perhaps false because Shinobu doesn't know everything about the world at all. So Bonnie's devil fruit could
Mm.
theoretically undo, this damage and make it more congruent where Momo could be like, okay, once Momo's like his body has turned to like, I don't know, 35 or something, but
I
he
see
is the
when he
maturity of like a 20-year-old, then if he runs into Bonnie and he's like, oh, you have this ability, can you revert my body back to my mental age? And so you don't really get that gap because he's already an adult at that point. So then he's just having his mind catch up or his body, realign with his mind. So there's ways around it, but I
look
do
this.
see it happening.
This goes into my theory of him saving them from the flower capital, seeing a dragon get slayed over the flower capital while a dragon saves. And that's how
Yeah,
the hour of legends. Look,
I see
Momo
it.
can't
I'm
die.
just
Like I'm
curious. I'm curious how it's going to be implemented here because, again, Momo couldn't turn into a dragon in Punk Hazard of his own volition. He had a vision of Doflamingo that scared him into it. And then we saw whenever he gets like really scared or really shy, he'll turn into a dragon. So him aging would obviously make the dragon age, which means it should be bigger. But we already know he doesn't necessarily need to be bigger to carry Luffy. But if he's carrying Luffy and Shinobu, does he like what is the reason for him being aged? And how is that going to affect his dragon form?
mm.
Especially because I don't believe fighting wise he can do anything. And I
See,
don't believe aging you is going to automatically unlock your devil fruit
it doesn't give
abilities.
you it doesn't give you confidence. See, that's the only reason why I don't know if you age him. But to that point, I think aging him allows him to, because he knows how to cloud walk. He knows how, we've seen him make clouds before. So
Yeah, but he was like unconscious when he did it. So I'm saying he would still be able to make it. And because he's a bigger dragon, he should be able to make bigger clouds.
and that's the only
But
thing I think you make him big for is
and
for
and, and,
that.
and I and I believe that too. But it's like what I'm curious about is when they do it, how are they going to implement Momo saying, okay, now that I'm older, but my confidence hasn't necessarily spiked per se.
That's the
How am
only
I now going to tap into these powers? So it's like, could Momo even make clouds right now? If he can't, then why age him?
mm,
So I'm curious. There's no reason for it to be questioned if it's not going to happen. Like I just don't see Momo being like, "I need you to age me," and then Shinobu being like, "No," and then it's just dropped, or she's just insistent upon no for the rest of the arc. So it's going to happen. But how is Oda going to address now that I'm bigger and I can make bigger clouds? What else does that mean? Does it mean that because Momo was unconscious or he was really shy whenever he's in his dragon form, that he can't use other abilities? Because if I'm not mistaken, the dragon that Momo is was specifically modeled after Kaido's dragon,
mm-hmm.
and it was deemed to be a failure. But this brings up questions like if Kaido's dragon is effectively a fish, then why isn't Momo a fish like Magikarp to Gyarados?
Mm.
So does that mean that Dragon always had the ability to turn into a dragon, or was it something more evolutionary? I don't think it was really evolutionary. I think it was just called fish because that type of
Yeah,
dragon
I
is
think his
related
play
to a
on it.
fish. So it's like that, but I don't believe that's the case. But does that mean that Momo, if he thinks about doing it, can use Boro Breath? And does that mean that I mean, obviously you can't use like Thunder Bagua because that's something that Kaido taught Yamato, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not that. But if he can create Dragon Twisters and Blast Breaths, does that mean that if because he's gaining confidence, right?
He is.
He's saying my name's Momonosuke when he was asked by Kaido in front of everybody. He said, Luffy, I'll save myself from Kanjuro. He's making demands right now of Shinobu to do something for him so that he can do something. So he's showing more confidence. So if he becomes more confident, then does he use a lower form of Kaido's abilities,
That's
perhaps?
what I'm thinking. Like once he gains the confidence that he needs, I think we'll see some of Kaido's abilities. I don't think we'll see all of them. I think we'll see the cloud situation, maybe a Boro breath, and that might be it. I don't think we'll see Dragon Twister or the lightning. I'm not sure about that yet, but
I don't
right,
think the lightning. Yeah, I thought maybe a dragon twister, maybe
maybe
just because it might play into like levitating something by creating a tornado for it to sit
true.
on so it doesn't fall. But the physics of that, I don't understand that. Like,
I
at
mean,
what
hey, the house
level?
is already being held up by clouds, so like,
So yeah, I don't know. I just can't see Momo making a tornado strong enough to do that. But then again, if he's making clouds with a tornado, then maybe that does something. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see how does aging him change
the
something.
situation. Yeah, no, I'm with
Yeah,
you. That's the only thing. But like you said, I don't think you bring it up and not do it. I think you have to get there and
yeah,
make it earned. But
yeah.
if you make it earned, then it'll be worth it. But that's something that we're gonna have to see. Crazy. Where are we
Also,
going next? Oh no, you got
if he
something else?
gets if he gets aged up, what about your theory about him basically being a cabin boy on the Straw
Oh, that's
Hats?
it. That's see. Okay, so that is dead. Like to me,
Right.
that
Okay.
gives more credence to Yamato joining.
Right. All right, so I'm glad we're on the same page with that because I think that by Momo getting aged up,
He's
it will
Shogun.
also make it more clear that he's going to be the daimyo or shogun of Wano because he's going to be more respected. Like, no matter how much they love him, I just could not see Wano being ruled by a kid even with advisors like
Yep.
Kinemon, if he's still alive, which at this point I really hope he's not. But I expect one of the scabbards, maybe Denjiro, to survive or something. So even with that being the case, I just could not see Wano being ran by Kid Momo. So even though he would still be a kid at heart, if he has the physical age to match it, I can wrap my head around it. And that's just a lore that we know. Technically, Wano's being ruled by a little kid right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives credence to that, which means Yamato can leave.
Yep.
So people who are speculating that no, she needs to be the shogun and she needs to stay in Wano, it's like she's gonna help open up the borders.
And that's
She'll
it.
fulfill
That's
that,
what Odin
and then
wanted.
she's free. She's
Yep.
free to go. So I'm with that. It also makes more sense because if they're gonna pick up a cabin boy or cabin
It's
girl in
Tommen.
this
It's
case,
Tama.
it's Tama.
And you want me to go double down? I could see this might be a stretch, but I can see Hiyori leaving and going with the crew with Zoro, being watching with Tama, just doing that thing, and Yamato and Momo stays.
Hey, look, all I'm saying, I wasn't gonna be the one to say Hiyori's leaving with them, but I told you off air, nobody's beating the Zoro Hiyori ship. If that happens, nobody will hear the end of it from me. That's it. Sanji, like I feel bad for Sanji fans because at that point there's going to be a serious gag. Like Oda better pull out his bag and say, "Yeah, Nami and Sanji are a thing," because there's no way Iori's going to be on the freaking Sunny and Sanji's not going to lose his mind every time he's on screen because he's going to be Nami-chan, Robin Swan, Hiyori, whatever.
He's not gonna be able to call her that because she's with Zoro.
he's he's still gonna do it, and but Hiyori's just gonna kind of treat him like just someone else. Like, oh, thanks, Sanji. Anyway, Zoro, how are you feeling? He's gonna be like, what?
But then my
Every
flip is she won't
every
want to leave
time.
her brother. See, that's the flip.
See, that's basically why I sounds like she hasn't seen Momo in 20 years, so I don't think she's leaving Wano. And she shows too much pride. Like I know she's Odin's, daughter, but she has shown a lot of pride in
She's more
that
Toki.
fact, in the fact that she's there. She is, a reference to Toki, and she put in so much time stealing from the corrupt Wano people to give back and help Dendro give back to the poor citizens. So she seems way too tethered to Wano, but if she pulls a Toki and Zoro is, her Odin, and she gets on that ship, that's it. I don't care. Zoro's the first one to get a ship. Nobody's beating that. You can bring Kuina straight up. You asked me about how I felt about reincarnation. you can bring Kuina back from the dead authentically. It's never beating Zoro Hiyori. If she steps foot on the Sunny, it's it. That's over. I don't care if Zoro's like, look, I gotta train. I don't have time for romance. It's in the books already.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. No more Robin flirting. I don't want to hear it. Tashigi does not exist. We don't talk about her anymore. I don't care. It's Zoro Hiyori. If she steps foot on the Sunny, it's a wrap.
I bet. Now, next week, we were right. We predicted more Robin stuff. We predicted the Caribou thing. We didn't predict the Momo thing. What's happening this week? I want to say Sanji and Queen. I want to say we jump into it. If we don't, then we start to see other flashes of other battles, i.e. Inarashi, Nekomamushi, i.e. other Scabbard stuff, i.e. maybe what Denjiro's doing, maybe Marco and King update, maybe Law Kid, Big Mom update. Like, if we're not going into another battle, it's a flash around.
I don't. It's tough because my hopes, as we discussed last chapter, is once we get to Sanji versus Queen, needs to stay on that. I don't want any breaks from that. That needs to be a main event in and of itself. I don't even want flash arounds at that point. So I'm hesitant to say Sanji versus Queen because I don't know how Oda's going to handle Inu and Jack. Jack is, based on his screen time and his portrayal, he's already not that interesting to me anymore. Like when you talk about commanders, everyone talks about King and Queen.
Yep.
King and Queen clown Jack themselves in canon. Then Jack, had to get Caesar's weapons to beat either Inu or Neku when they were 1v1ing him on the turf. Then Jack said, the Scabbards half dead can't be beaten by the Toby Ropo. So it's like, okay, I want to see Inu and Jack, but at the same time, Jack's already got his ass whooped. So it's kind of like, I don't really care to see Jack get his ass
That's
whooped.
why I'm saying
again.
it's a flash around. Like we see a little bit of them, see a little Marco King, see a little Big Mom Kid Law talking.
See, but okay, I don't mind a flash round if it's the Kid in Law versus Big Mom.
Okay.
So what I mean is don't flash me at anything lower than Sanji. But also that means I don't really want to see Luffy and Momo going up while Sanji's fighting because that's not the same thing. I don't want to see Sanji and Queen fighting while Luffy's fighting Kaido. So it's like, don't make me care less about a lower tier fight, is what I'm saying. So when Sanji fights Queen, that needs to be the highlight.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna flash to something else, then to me, even though Big Mom, Law, and Kid are bigger names than Sanji, we have a bigger attachment to Sanji because he's a Straw Hat. Yep. So since we're getting Straw Hat versus battles, I don't think we're gonna break that trend and go into a different versus battle, such as an Inu versus Jack. I think that those title blocks are meant for the Straw Hats. But with that being said, Nami and Usopp have done their thing. Chopper's job has already been done.
It's been done. Yeah.
And so he's now doing his main thing, which is being a doctor. Brooke and Robin pretty much wrapped up their stuff. Frankie's wrapped up his stuff. Jinbei's wrapped up his stuff. So it's like, who else but Zoro and Luffy? And I know some people might be thinking, okay, this is pointing to Zoro versus King, but it's like, I'm still gonna die on my ship. If we get Zoro versus
King, next week, if we get a flash around of Marco and King and it's looking like Zoro's nowhere in sight, that ZKK gets a boost.
Hey, okay, again, Marco and King, I'm okay because Marco can do that. But it feels like if we're dealing with Straw Hat versus battle,
it should be Sanji next. It should be Sanji.
So I'll say this: it should be Sanji next. I'm not gonna have my hopes up that it. So I'm saying, like, if you're going to flash away from Sanji versus Queen, then the only way I could see that happening is if you're gonna flesh out Sanji's beef with Queen with like Germa and getting like the info dumps out while giving us the flash around for your action. So if we
Mhm.
get like Marco versus King, or Inu versus Jack, action wise, and we're also getting lore of the Vinsmokes versus
Ah,
King,
that's a good
then
one.
I can see, okay, you can put things like title block Sanji versus Queen,
I actually think that's gonna happen.
and that's how you get it. That way, Oda can say, once I start giving Sanji feats, it's Sanji time. There's no question about it. We all know what time it
We're
is.
seeing raid suit. Like we saw
Yeah,
Robin get a. We're getting raid suit. Diablo
absolutely.
John Blade. Best move. Sanji's Commander 2. It's happening. It's happening. Like
And
I'm.
it has to happen. I mean, and that's why when I texted you, I said, based on this portrayal that we got of Robin, we're about to see something crazy from Sanji, because this arc has shown us the epitome of, I mean, basically almost in series of every character.
If
We've
Nami
seen,
gets Zeus and Robin gets this haki devil form, and Frankie and Jinbei are just kicking ass, Brooks just kicking ass, then my boy Sanji better come correct. Oda's not gonna do that because he knows we haven't
it
seen him
has to.
fight since Enies Lobby. He knows that.
It has to, and I said this before. Jinbei is not, when we were talking about like how glorious these fights are. Jinbei's fights are always going to be kind of basic and boring because he's an armament defensive haki specialist. So for the
Mhm.
most part, he's not going to be doing all this flash stepping. He's going to set up his ground and take whatever's coming at him, block it, and then counter. We know that that's choreography for Jinbei.
And
So it's
Frankie's
always going to
dressed.
be impressive from tanking wise and then a counterattack. Frankie is going to be doing something with mech. So he's pretty much going to be doing something with lasers or something. We might see something closer to what like Queen's doing, where he has a more hybridized General Frankie at some point with his
That
own
and he
body.
gotta do his wrestling moves he learned from Senor Ping too.
Along with, obviously he knows like boxing and wrestling moves. Like we saw him use Gatling punches.
Yeah, true,
So
true,
he,
true.
he knows how to, have a manly man-to-man brawl type fight and wrestle. So we're gonna see more of that. Zoro came and showed us Ashura again. Luffy is showing us end of series Conqueror's Haki coding. So it's time.
Yeah, it's
Raid
fun.
Suit versus Page One was not enough, especially because that left the fandom kind of feeling unfulfilled. Sanji left a little early.
And that's
We know that
before he
Page One,
accepted who he is, because he was still Osobo Mask. Like this is about to be
right?
Sanji Vinsmoke. Like it's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, and then all right. So something else I wanted to bring up earlier. When I was watching Robin take those punches, it made me think of Sanji, because what I'm hoping, and I'm hoping I'm not reading too much into this, but I've been speculating on Hell Memories. And I feel like Hell Memories is similar to like Law's Counter Shock, or like the guy from Hunter x Hunter's Pain Pactor technique, where the more you drag Sanji through hell, the stronger that gets.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes into, I think Oda has purposely been giving Sanji a hard time
For
because he's
this.
been trying to build up this rage in Sanji. Like Diable Janbei was when Sanji snapped and he got pissed off because Jabber was holding him up and Robin could be murdered at any point, and he had
Mm-hmm.
enough. All right, he was pissed. Hell Memories is based off him being pissed, but it was kind of shown in a gag like way in Fishman Island because he was still going and working out his issues with not being around women for so long. So he was still gagged like that. But I don't think Hell Memories is a throwaway thing. I think what happened in Whole Cake, I think, as gag like as it is, what happens with like Hiyori and everything else is slowly building up this frustration in Sanji. And I feel like when he finally says, like what Robin gets, where he gets where at his limit and he says, I am boiling over now. I'm going to take my rage out. Like, I think that is the moment where we're going to see what we've been waiting for. The
Yeah.
anime openings have shown Sanji facing off with Kizaru, and ever since then, it's like you put this level of expectation in all of the fandom's hearts, and we need to start
We
seeing
got to
some
get
more
there.
of that play out. The raid suit makes sense. He's invisible. It boosts his speed. His speed is already ridiculous. It should boost, his fire power. So once Sanji's mind really gets in the game, we should see. I mean, he was supposed to beat Judge. until his mind got taken out by the human sacrifices. He
Mm-hmm.
was, I believe, going to beat Niji and Ichiji, except that server girl got in the way, and he didn't want her to get, the recoil of that damage. So he held back. We saw him go off against Luffy, but again, we still know he's holding back. He's not going to actually kill Luffy.
Yep.
So what happens when we take all of that happened in Whole Cake Island and that frustration and his frustration from Fishman Island and everything in between with, Dressrosa getting captured by Doflamingo and feeling helpless and all this other stuff. What's going to happen when Sanji's had enough and someone pushes his bones the way that Black Maria just pushed Robin's?
Oh, it's
So
going down.
like Queen is going to say some more shit about Judge, some more stuff about Vinsmoke, and Sanji's going to be like, I told you, stop calling me that. Yes, I am Sanji Vinsmoke, and I accept that. But to you, I'm, Prince Sanji or something.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not Oda. Not going to come close to his lines. But say something and then snap. Just give me that so we can see it. Because I have no doubt it's going to be ridiculous. We're going to see some Kizaru level stuff once Sanji's head is in the game.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited
once we
for
get there. That's what I want. So give me that info dump. Flash around to the things that we, we're not going to care enough about, such as, in my opinion, Jack getting his ass whooped again. Do that during the info dump.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, that's pretty much everything. We'll be back next week because there's no break. Christian, tell the people they can follow you at on social media.
Twitter's going to be at Hollinger94, and everywhere else, like Instagram, is going to be Art Season or Design Season LLC for my graphic content.
Y'all make sure y'all go follow Christian, commission him for some art, and he'll make you some solid stuff, some great work, and pay my man his money. But y'all can follow me at LynBWT. Follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Be sure to subscribe. Like I said, we'll be back next week reviewing One Piece. There's a bunch of content out, but y'all can find all of that on the YouTube. But until next week, we'll talk to you soon. Until then, peace.
Peace.